Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa faces even more questions about donations made into his CR17 campaign for the ANC presidency. It comes after it was perpetuated emails suggesting that Ramaphosa may have known more than he's led on about the individuals who donated to the campaign. Ramaphosa has insisted that he was deliberately kept in the dark about donors, including Bosasa boss Gavin Watson's 500,000 rand donation to the campaign. That's been at the center of Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane's probe. My colleague in Newsroom Africa's Pelani Pachadi joins me live now with reaction to the emails leak. Pelani, a very good morning to you and thank you for joining us. You've got some reaction to the leaks. Talk us through exactly what the center of your discussion is with the reaction that you're getting.
Well, definitely. I mean, you would have realized over the course of the weekend that there have been weekend reports, particularly one from News 24, wherein they dived a bit into details and talked about leaked emails that from the private email address of the president, perpetually, of course. And just to give us a bit of a reaction, I'm joined by the president's spokesperson, Khusela Diko, who will just, of course, share with us the general reaction, firstly, to this weekend reports that we have seen, and as well as if there's any element of truth to it. But let's just get with your reaction first, the emails that we've seen.
Well, the presidency has tried very hard not to comment on these emails, and that's largely because we are not sure how these emails were obtained, their authenticity, their veracity, but also for what reason they were distributed and in what manner they were distributed. But nonetheless, those emails are now in the public domain now. The one point that we want to make is to firstly refute any allegation that is being raised that the president would have lied as it relates to his campaign funding. You will know that the president was accused by the DA of deliberately misleading Parliament when he answered questions about a donation from Gavin Watson of 500,000 rand. The president said at that time that he was not aware of that particular donation, and we have obviously since then reiterated that statement. What the campaign sought to do was to ensure that it shields the president from information around who was donating what monies to him. And this is because we wanted nobody to feel that the president was obligated to give them any consideration once he was elected. Now, that we continue to stand by. President Ramaphosa was not involved in the day-to-day fundraising and soliciting of funds for the campaign.
The emails, though, that we've seen, perhaps we can just ask you, even though we are talking about the authenticity and you're trying to check out if indeed they are true, is the emails from what you've read on the newspapers belonging perhaps to the president, while some of the text written there, the writings of the president, or to the president?
There are emails that we can confirm. For example, an email that is said to be written by the president to a Donald. In this email, the president is asking him to move an amount of money to the fundraising account. Now, this supports what we said to the private protector, that the president had also donated some of his own personal money to the campaign, some of which was supposed to be paid back, but he had made a donation, and that email supports that. But we're also aware of instances where people are saying that the emails that are alleged to have come from them or gone to them have been doctored. And it's for that reason that we don't want to pronounce ourselves on the authenticity of the email, but rather deal with some of the allegations and the narrative that is being developed around those emails. One such allegation, if you will allow me, is around the issue of money laundering. Now, there is nothing, whether in those emails or in the report of the public protector, to support any assertion that the president was involved in money laundering. Money laundering refers to a situation where you know that somebody is involved in a crime, they move money, you take money with the intention of hiding the origins of that money. Now, the president has not been involved in such, and there's nothing that supports such an assertion.
Perhaps also just to check with you on this particular matter, the president said on numerous accounts that he was not aware, but some of the emails suggest that he was being asked for permission to approach certain people for donations for the CR17 campaign. So is that still the main fact? Is it still remaining that he was not aware, despite those those particular allegations there?
We want to reassert the point. President Ramaphosa was not involved in the day-to-day fundraising and soliciting of funds for the campaign. Yes, and we've said it in the report to the Public Protector, the President addressed fundraising dinners. Yes, the President would have been consulted on a number of occasions, on potential donors. There's nothing illegal in this. There's nothing wrong about it. I think the conversation that South Africans want to have is whether indeed we should obligate politicians, not just President Ramaphosa, but across the political divide, to declare who their campaign funding is. So regardless of whether he knew or not, at the end of the day, there's nothing illegal. But we still maintain the assertion that we had made, that every effort was made to ensure that the President was not involved. And the reason for that, which I believe was a noble reason, was to ensure that should he be elected, none of those people would feel that the President owed them any favors. And we think we've succeeded in a large extent to achieving that.
So the President has not lied whatsoever. All this thing has just been it has been a legal route that he has taken to ensure that whoever who was in charge of the CR17 campaign solicit money for the campaign, but still not involve him so that he doesn't feel obligated.
The President has not lied to the South African public, and I think it's important that we reiterate that point. Every effort was made to ensure that he had minimal knowledge of what was going on in the campaign in order to ensure. But I also want to make another point. Sorry, if I can just leave that. I want to make another point that says that, remember, this campaign sought to hold the President to a higher standard. I mean, you had campaigns that were running, you had politicians, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, who were involved in the fundraising of their campaigns. This is done throughout the world. It's not a unique South African phenomenon. I think what we want to discuss is whether there should be disclosure moving forward. So whether he knew or not, and we assert that he didn't know, it was a higher standard that we sought to hold him to. But if the conversation is about disclosure, and that's one of the issues that will be ventilated in court, because if you remember, the report of the Public Protector also seeks to say that he should have disclosed. Now, on the basis that he did not have that information, it was the reason we said that he could not have disclosed. But also there's no regulation that requires him or compels him to disclose.
Definitely. Kusela Digwe, the spokesperson of the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, they're just saying that she's the President basically would not have known, and if he have known, it still would not have been legal for any. Well, nobody would have been. It's not a legal background to compel him just to share some of those details. But Kusela, they're speaking a bit about the issues that the President has have never lied to the South African Republic, and has not lied to the citizen when he said that he was not aware. And then the emails that we have seen, of course, they're still going to look on the authenticity of them, and as well as whether some of the emails were doctored.
Thank you so much. Let's leave it there. My colleague Belani Pahadi speaking there to Kusela Diko, the President's spokesperson, just really emphasizing and reiterating that the President has not lied to the South African public, also saying that there was nothing wrong with the President addressing fundraising dinners. He would have been consulted on donors, but he wasn't involved into the day-to-day dealings to ensure that nobody holds him to deliver a favor should he be elected.